My name is Stephanie. Thank you for joining me today. Today I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about why I decided to have the gastric sleeve, what I did before, my options, and kind of how I got to the point that I did. So at the beginning of this year, I was 290 pounds. It's the highest weight that I ever recorded. Sometimes, you don't want to step on the scale. I decided that I needed to just take my life into control. I was in a 4XL. It was getting already kind of tight. I noticed that my clothes were just getting tighter and tighter, and I was kind of to the point where I couldn't lie to myself anymore that this was becoming a problem. I couldn't get out of my car without being very difficult, getting up from the ground. It was just, my body itself was basically just rejecting the idea of all this weight on my body. So I decided to do something about it. So let me tell you just a tiny bit about how I got to this point. Now, I did not gain that much weight with both my pregnancies. I was a patient transporter. I was 19 when I had my daughter. I was 20 when I had my son. And through both pregnancies, I was patient transporter in the hospital. So, I kept my weight kept down. It wasn't too bad. About a week or two after I had my son, I actually got a job offer in a different department. So I decided to go and do that so I went from a very, very active and, moving to a very sedentary life of just sitting in front of monitors for 12 hours a day. So the big shift, and then of course having two small children, my health and my weight was kind of not really in my mind. So just slowly over the years, I kind of just started gaining weight. I didn't really mind, about 10 pounds a year, until finally, it started, you can kind of start feeling it. And then I would get into the cycle of, okay, I'm going to crash diet. I'm going to do this for 2 weeks. I'm going to lose 20 pounds. And of course, I did. And then I gain it all back. It would be a consistent cycle of me gaining and me losing, me gaining and me losing. And then finally me gaining more, and then me gaining more, to the point where I could no longer have this go through. I had to do something. So it took about 12 years before I kind of realized this is getting out of hand. So like I said, I was 290 at my highest. I had talked to my mom about maybe going and seeing the weight doctor, and she was right on board. My mother is very concerned. She is a nurse. She doesn't want me to die prematurely. I have to be here for my children. So she was wholeheartedly agreed. Any financial help that I would need for the procedure, she was there, which is always good to have somebody in your corner. Because not a lot of people, I will tell you about later, they didn't agree with my choice, and we'll talk about that later. So I reached out and I got an appointment, and I decided to go and do this. So a couple of reasons that also went into me wanting to get this done. I had a couple of embarrassing weight-related incidences. Nobody ever made fun of me. There wasn't any fat phobia or anything like that. Mostly I've noticed the bigger I got, the more invisible I got. More people just kind of didn't pay attention to me. There wasn't a lot of, that, for me at least. I don't know about other people. The bigger I got, the more invisible I got. But a couple of things that were just, embarrassing to myself, going on a ride and not being able to click the thing because you're too large. I was with my children. It embarrassed me as a mom, and as, just as a woman. I didn't like the way that felt. So I decided, to take that plunge, and I would do it every single time. When I weighed myself at the beginning of this year, I was 290. Now, I had gained about 10 pounds a year, but this last COVID year, I gained about 30 pounds, 20 to 30 pounds in 1 year, and it was very hard. Now, I do work at 2 different hospitals here in the Valley, and I will say that it was a really tough. COVID was hard. It was hard to get through. It was hard to see that much death. It was hard to, it was, it's very loathsome, it's very scary. to go through. So, and I used food as a crutch. We kind of, at the nurse's station, it was kind of the one joy we kind of had. It was, we're not at the nurse's station, but it's, so I really relied on the pleasure of food during this time, since we had no other escape. There was no amusement parks, there was no parks, there was no movies. And so I kind of focused all of my joy on the food to help me get through just that trying time of, I gained all that weight really quickly. And I'll talk about a little later about how much I actually relied on food, and I didn't even realize it afterwards. But I just wanted to tell you guys just a little bit about my story, of my reason why I did. Of course, I want to look better. I prefer my body slimmer, and that's just my preference. I've never been a size 2. I've always been like a size 6 or 8, and I'm not trying to be 100 pounds, but it's whatever, your body, your choice, you do you kind of thing. But, I'm really proud that I took this step. It was scary, but, if you're thinking about it, or if you have any questions, if you have any questions that you would like me to answer, if I can, or if you're thinking about it, or if you're kind of scared, reach out to me. I did it. I'm currently 222. I had it done about 13 weeks ago now, so I'm doing pretty okay. But, we all have our own story of how we got to this point, and where we go from here, kind of thing. It's your life. You can choose to turn it around, or you can choose to stay how you are. There's nothing wrong with that. You kind of just have to decide what's right for you and what time is right. So please, if you reach out to me, leave a comment, or whatever, just let me know. But thank you for joining me here today. I think I had to sneak this in. We're going to go out and hang out with my family, and then it's back off to the hospital. So thank you guys, and have a nice night. Stay blessed.